What does an effective teacher of literacy do? There's your basic teacher type skills like classroom management, communication, assessing, reflecting. But the one that really grabbed me was organisation. Essentially looking at a teacher as an organiser and a facilitator who sets up learning experiences for the children, gives them an environment to learn in. Obviously, a big component of organisation is planning. Now, in planning, you've got what you're going to teach, so the content. And in the curriculum, that's divided into literacy, language, and literature, which have all these concepts related to them. That's the what. Then you've got the when. When are the students going to learn this? When do they need to learn? Planning for the long term and the short term. Then there's who. Who are your students? You've got to know what they know, their prior knowledge, but you also need to know them as people. So how do they learn? What are they interested in? What's their background, their personal context? Then the where. The where is the classroom environment. So you've got all those factors of the classroom to take into account, and also the school environment. And how can you use the classroom environment to create interesting learning experiences for the children? And part of that classroom environment is, of course, your resources, what's available to you. And that will influence how you teach it. So the learning experiences that you select for your students. And I've often heard that referred to as having a bag of tricks that you can use. Now, possibly the hardest one is the why. Why is this important for the students to learn? Now, the obvious answer is because it's in the curriculum, or because the principal says so. But it's about more than that, and it should come across to the students as being about more than that. It should come across as being something they can actually use, something that's meaningful to them and their personal context. So authenticity is a really big aspect of teaching literacy. And of course, one of the ways you achieve authenticity is through integration, bringing multiple subjects together, because real life is not conveniently divided into maths, English, science, etc. Everything is connected, and you need to help students to be able to see those connections within their daily lives. Now, obviously, you can integrate literacy with really just about anything, but a couple of the strategies that really stood out to me were visual literacy and content area literacy. Now, visual literacy is mostly because I'm a bit of an artsy person. I really like drawing. I've always liked drawing. I've always learnt by drawing diagrams. So for many students, visuals and images and illustrations can be a way in to literacy. I was really inspired by the Steve Moline video. He has some really good ideas like the visual dictionaries and the mapping exercises. I was recently at a PD workshop at SciTech focusing on the primary connections model for science. And primary connections is basically all about integrating science with literacy. And it focuses on various forms such as role plays, diagrams, narratives, various other forms of literacy that really show the connections. And science is also a great way into content area literacy, which is literacy being used in other content areas to learn about other topics. I also have a bit of a background in drama, so I can see myself employing quite a few techniques using poetry, as well as a few more general drama techniques such as teacher and role, mantle of the expert, decision alley, basically just getting into the head of a character or a person involved in the subject matter. And once again, that's just making the content more real and authentic for the students by getting them to experience it firsthand through drama. One of the big questions I had at the start of the unit was, what kind of meta-language do we use with students? Now, obviously, we wouldn't talk about semantics and graphophonics with them, but throughout the course of the unit, I've found a couple of different models of thinking and talking about the way we read, the way we think, the way we make sense of a text, such as the Super 6 strategies, which is making, predicting, questioning, summarizing, visualizing, and monitoring, and the similar one, which is the reciprocal teaching method, which has predicting, questioning, clarifying, and summarizing. So it's great to have models of learning for teacher use, but it's even better, I think, to have models that you can actually use with the students so that they can analyse their own understanding and their own thinking. And it also adds to that collection of strategies that students will have for making sense of the world around them. It's the same with reading too, because once again, the more strategies and techniques you have under your belt, the more likely you are to be successful at what you're trying to do. And I guess that is really what literacy education should be about. It's about providing students with, well, the foundation knowledge, but more importantly, the strategies that students can use to build on and extend their own knowledge. Sort of the give a man a fish, teach a man to fish type of analogy there. But yeah, as teachers, it's our job to give students the tools that they need to interact with the world, to make sense of it, and provide them with thinking skills that they can use in all aspects of their lives. Anyway, that was my learning for the semester, or at least the main points of it. I hope you've enjoyed watching it, and I look forward to applying some of these concepts in the classroom.